Part 47. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 461. Zhang Chen and the others bought tickets to return to Hangzhou at 1:40 the next day. At around 8 o'clock in the morning, the four of them went out and walked to the door of the county committee. A lot of people are queuing up under the awning. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao were going to the post office to call Lu Ligan. Zhang Chen's mother said to Zhang Chen, "How about I go over and take a look?" Zhang Chen said yes. Xiao Zhao asked, "Mom, what are you going to see there? Can I go with you?" "What are you looking for?" "No." "Oh, I saw an old acquaintance from the factory over there. Come over and have a look." "You and Chen can go together," Zhang Chen's mother said hesitantly. Xiao Zhao looked at the backs of Zhang Chen's parents with suspicion in his eyes, and asked Zhang Chen, what were they going to do? "What are you doing in line over there?" Zhang Chen also said, "I don't know, it's nothing." Before confirming whether the household registration was settled, Zhang Chen and his parents felt that there was no need to tell Xiao Zhao first, lest the joy would be in vain. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao walked into the phone room. Zhang Chen dialed Lu Ligan's number. Lu Ligan shouted, "Oh, call me this early in the morning. Is my daughter born?" You, it's so fast, do you think you're blowing up a balloon?" Zhang Chen cursed. "I don't know about the others." "Aren't you Zhang Chen awesome? You might be able to create miracles," Lu Ligan laughed. "Okay, Pol, I'm at the post office. How the hell did you wire this money over?" "Yeah, what's wrong?" Lu Ligan said, "Your remittance was given to you, and all Xiao Zhao's remittance was remitted to Xiao Zhao's family." Not only Zhang Chen, but also Xiao Zhao was anxious. Xiao Zhao shouted from the side, "Brother Ganzi, didn't I ask you to return this money to your work? Why does my unit want you to worry about it?" Zhang Chen, "Xiao Zhao, you also know that in Heiken, Lu Lipol, will always have more solutions than difficulties. Don't be embarrassed. In Hangchang, you will definitely have more difficulties than solutions. If you are not familiar with the place, you are not saying that the sky is not responding, and the earth is not working, so don't be verbose." "We are not short of money now," Xiao Zhao shouted. "There will be a shortage soon. Isn't Xiangnan coming?" "Who is Xiangnan? Where did she come from?" Xiao Zhao looked at Zhang Chen and asked. Zhang Chen gently patted her belly. Xiao Zhao understood and smiled. "Damn it, I'm going north," Zhang Chen cursed. Okay, I am the godfather anyway." "Who is Xiangbei again?" Xiao Zhao asked. Zhang Chen patted her belly anyway. Xiao Zhao was confused. Did he really have so much in his belly? "Okay, I won't bother you anymore. That bastard Wu Kai is honking the horn down there. The horn is almost broken. I have to go to work." After Lu Ligan finished speaking, he hung up the phone. The two people walked out of the phone room. Xiao Zhao asked Zhang Chen, "What does south and north mean?" Zhang Chen talked to her, and she realized that this name was for his daughter, and the other was for his son. Xiao Zhao read it again and felt that both names were very good. Zhang Chen's mother ran in happily, with a happy face. When she saw them, she shouted, yes, we can do it right away, 15,000 each." "Really?" Zhang Chen asked. "Of course it's true. I asked the old man to go back and get the household registration book and bank book. Xiao Zhao happened to be here, so we will do it today." "What are you doing with your bank book?" "Withdraw money." "No need to pick it up, I have it here." Zhang Chen shook the remittance slip in his hand. Xiao Zhao was on the side, being confused by the mother and son's words, and didn't know what they were talking about. Zhang Chen then told Xiao Zhao about buying a household registration. Xiao Zhao was also very happy after hearing this. Of course she knew the difference between urban household registration and rural household registration. She used to go to high school in the town middle school, and those with urban household registration always felt that I feel superior to others and look down on them, those with rural hukou. Especially when she heard that her household registration could be moved to Yongcheng and transferred to Zhang Chen's family. From now on, not only her, but also their children would be from Yongcheng. How could she be unhappy? Zhang Chen withdrew all the more than 26,000 yuan on the remittance slip, used 15,000 yuan to buy an account, and had more than 10,000 yuan, which was enough for them to pay the round-trip expenses and fines. The three of them walked to the door of the post office. Zhang Chen's father also arrived on his bicycle. The four of them hurried to the door of the county committee. Zhang Chen's mother asked Zhang Chen's father to queue up. She took Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen to the side. There is a table there with two household registration police officers who are responsible for consultation. Zhang Chen's mother handed them her family's household registration book and Xiao Zhao's ID card, and said to them, "Comrade, please tell my son and wife again what you just told me." The household registration policeman took a look at Xiao Zhao's ID card and asked, "Is she going to move?" "Yes," Zhang Chen said. "What's your relationship?" "She is my fiancée, and we are going to her hometown to register soon." "Oh, we are allowed to live in relatives and friends." "That is to say, as long as your family is willing to accept it, even friends and relatives can settle in your family. You are about to get married, and there is no problem. Marriage and migration are no problem. What exactly should we do?" "In this way, go over there and line up, pay the money, and a relocation permit will be issued to you, which means that her household registration will be transferred to your home. This relocation permit is in 3 copies. We will save 1 copy and 2 copies. Here you go, keep this safe and don't lose it. Don't you want to go back to her place of residence? When they get there, I'll take a look." She lowered her head and glanced at Xiao Zhao's ID card again, and then continued. "Go to the police station in this township and give them one of the relocation certificates. They will issue a household transfer certificate for her, proving that her household registration has been moved from there, and the household registration there will be cancelled. You can take it with this relocation certificate, a relocation permit, her ID card, and this household registration book. She can go directly to the Yongcheng police station to settle down. It's that simple. Yes, we handle it in a centralized manner in accordance with the county's regulations. Of course it's simple. But if you have to go from department to department, it will be complicated. If you want to be transferred from rural to non-agricultural land, it won't be possible. Then what if we pay the money here and go to her place of residence, but they refuse to issue a migration certificate?" Zhang Chen continued to ask. The one next to me immediately said, "It's impossible. Freedom of residence registration is stipulated by law. There is no place that can prevent you from moving your residence registration. The problem is that it has always been difficult to move to the place where you moved in. Isn't there just such an opportunity now?" The man just nodded and continued what his colleague said, "Besides, in this rural area, I hope you will move out. If you move out, there will be more land in the village. Do you understand? Furthermore, you see why we have to centralize the processing at the door of the county committee. I am telling you that this is not the action of our police department. Look, there are also people from the food department. This is the unified arrangement of the county committee and county government." The person in front continued, "Look at the clothes we wear, are there any mistakes? That's right. If you are from this county, you can settle down today. Don't those from other places have to go to the place of residence registration? But there is no problem, you are not the first, there are several from Sichuan, don't worry." "That's right," another household registration policeman also said, "I'm from the Yongcheng police station. It's the same here. We never care about those who move out. We don't care whether you go to heaven or earth. As long as you have the relocation permit, we will start the process. You won't even need to ask more about the migration certificate. Once you get the migration certificate, come back and find me at the Yongcheng police station, and I will help you settle in. Zhang Chen and his mother were convinced. They returned to the team, waited for another 20 minutes, paid the money, and got the relocation permit. They originally asked to see Xiao Zhao's household registration book, but Xiao Zhao said at home in Sichuan. The clerk called a leader over. The leader repeatedly confirmed with Xiao Zhao that her household registration address was consistent with the address on her ID card. It's done, special matters will be dealt with, the leader waved to the staff. After getting the relocation permit, both Zhang Chen's mother and Xiao Zhao felt like they were in a dream. They had always thought that the household registration was bigger than the sky, but it turned out that it was so simple when it was actually done. Zhang Chen held the relocation permit and kept shaking his head. He said, "I always thought that money was the most valuable piece of paper, but today I learned that there is paper that is more valuable than money. This piece of paper costs 15,000. After saying that, he immediately realized that something was wrong. Wasn't the check also paper and not worth more than money? If you open 1 million, the paper is worth 1 million, if you open 10 million, the paper is worth 10 million. Zhang Chen's mother was cheerful and said with a smile, "I don't care if he doesn't care, it's good if Xiao Zhao's household registration can be entered." She turned to look at Zhang Chen's father and cursed, "Old man, do you feel powerful?" "What's my prestige?" Zhang Chen's father asked strangely. "You, the head of the household, used to have only 3 people. When Xiao Zhao came in, there were 4. In a few months, there will be 5. If you don't have authority, who will?" Zhang Chen's father thought, yes, and couldn't help but become happy. The family of 5 is now a big family. Thank you book friend 201702251419429997 for your monthly ticket. Thank you Tin Soldier, ranked 3rd from top to bottom, reading books every day, and 131 on the shore for your reward. Thank you for every recommendation, vote and reading. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 462. The 4 of them had just returned home and went upstairs. Zhang Chen's BB phone rang. He looked at it and told Xiao Zhao that it was Sister Tianlin. The 2 people went downstairs. The phone in the reception room could only be answered, not made. To make a call, they had to go to the small shop outside the courtyard. Zhang Chen dialed the phone, and Chu Tianlin asked on the phone, "Xiao Zhang, are you still in Yongcheng?" Zhang Chen said, "Yes, Sister Tianlin, our shuttle bus is at 1:40 p.m. What time does it take to arrive in Hangzhou?" "Normally it's about 5:30. It's too late, I have to have dinner with the client in the evening," Chu Tianlin said. "In this case, Mr. Ni called me and asked me that they wanted to make a sand table model, which is a panoramic view of the enterprise. He said that he would still accept your picture album. I asked you if you can do it, and I have already said that you can. In this case, you can go directly to Mr. Ni's place tomorrow morning to have a look, and we'll talk about it when you come back." Zhang Chen said yes. "Remember, when you quote the price, don't be picky about it. No one understands this thing. Try to raise the price as much as possible. If they find it too expensive, lower it little by little." Zhang Chen said, "Okay, I understand." "Where's Xiao Zhao, are you here?" Chu Tianlin asked. "I'm here, Sister Qu." Xiao Zhao answered the phone, and Zhang Chen walked aside to smoke while the 2 sisters chattered. Zhang Chen knew what Mr. Ni wanted to do. He recalled the urban planning model of Haikan City that Lu Ligan took him to the Haikan City Planning Bureau. What they wanted to do must be something like this, a corporate sandbox. The model is placed in the lobby or conference room of the company for presentation by superiors and customers when they come to visit. This thing was really rare at the time. It is said that the model in Haikan City was made by Tsinghua University and Tongji University at a huge cost. Of course, it was just a side product when they planned the entire city of Haikan. Fortunately, Zhang Chen thought this thing was strange at the time and looked at it carefully. Judging from his experience in designing stage props and decorations, this thing was actually not that difficult and not that complicated to make. Chu Tianlin and Mr. Ni said they could do it, but they were really not bragging. What makes Zhang Chen hesitate is time. He doesn't know how big the model Mr. Ni and the others are going to make, and whether they need it in a hurry. The validity period of the relocation permit is 40 days, which is the end of April that Sister Huang asked them to do. Before, in the meantime, they had to go back and forth from Sichuan no matter what, which took about 10 days. I don't know if Mr. Ni and the others would allow themselves to spare this time. If not, then there is no way I can take on this job. Let's talk about it tomorrow morning after we go there. Xiao Zhao and Chu Tianlin talked for another 4 or 5 minutes before hanging up. Zhang Chen was surprised and asked, "What are you talking about? Why do you have so much to say?" Xiao Zhao blushed and said a little shyly, "These are women's words, do you want to listen?" Zhang Chen quickly said, "No, no, no." The two of them walked back, and Xiao Zhao came close to Zhang Chen and said in his ear, "Sister Chu asked me not to let you touch her, saying that the first 3 months were a dangerous period." "Ah, you even said this." "Of course, she is my sister and has been here before. I don't know anything, so of course she has to teach me." Xiao Zhao looked at Zhang Chen chuckling and blushing. Zhang Chen was puzzled by her laughter and asked, "Why are you laughing?" Xiao Zhao looked around and saw that no one was around, and said to Zhang Chen, "Sister Chu also told me, she said, if you can't hold it in, please don't be shy and help you. Many men hold it in at this time. The one who can't stop and goes out looking for women is the husband of one of her little sisters." "How can you help me?" Zhang Chen asked. Xiao Zhao shook his head, chuckled, and refused to say anything more. After lunch, there was still time to rest at home for a while. Zhang Chen told his mother that if Xiao Wu comes, just tell him that we are coming back this time mainly to get the household registration book. We are pressed for time. I haven't contacted him. Also, give him my BB phone number and ask him to detain me if anything happens. Zhang Chen's mother said that she understood. If he doesn't come this evening, he will definitely come tomorrow. I told him. When they were ready to leave, Zhang Chen's parents still wanted to see them off. This time Xiao Zhao didn't refuse. She knew it was useless to refuse, they would still come after them. Zhang Chen's mother heard that both Xiao Zhao and her master liked to eat corn cakes, so she packed a lot of them this time and asked them to take them with them. Xiao Zhao decided to give them to Sister Gihua and Chu Tianlin. Zhang Chen's mother and Xiao Zhao were walking shoulder to shoulder, whispering along the way. They were walking in front, and Zhang Chen's father and Zhang Chen were behind, walking more than 10 steps away from them. The two of them walked silently, and no one could see them. Without speaking, among them was the bicycle pushed by Zhang Chen's father. Zhang Chen arrived at Mr. Ni's place, and Mr. Ni told him the reason for the matter. He really did what Chu Tianlin said. After reading the picture album Zhang Chen designed for him, he felt that his factory, the whole picture of the factory on the first page, the aerial view was so shocking that I wanted to make a model and place it in the lobby of their office building. This can be used not only for leaders and customers to visit, but also for employees of the company to see it every day, enhancing their sense of pride. They had such an idea but didn't know how to do it. After asking Chu Tianlin, they found out that designer Zhang could do it, which was great. "Mr. Ni, how big are you planning to make the sand table model?" Zhang Chen asked. "The one placed in the hall is too small and lacks momentum. We are going to make it 2 meters by 8 meters," Mr. Ni said. Zhang Chen calculated in his mind that if it were this size, it should be about the same size as the one in Haikan City Planning Bureau. Are you in a hurry? Zhang Chen asked. I'm not in a hurry, Mr. N. I said, with such a large size, I think it's inconvenient to move it around. It needs to be done on site. My idea is to temporarily separate one side of the hall and use it as designer Zhang's. How about the studio, designer Zhang's food and accommodation, and the guest house in our factory can all be arranged, you can rest assured. Zhang Chen and Mr. Ni said that there was no problem with this, but they were in the middle and had to go to Sichuan for about 10 days. There is no conflict with this, Mr. Ni said. You can draw the drawings of the entire shelf first and write down the requirements. This way we can arrange people to do it, which will also take time. After you come back from Sichuan, we can officially start production. Zhang Chen thought about it and it made sense. To make the 8 meter by 2 meter sand table, the entire frame and the table, carpenters had to drill holes and wiring on it according to their own requirements, and there was also a transparent organic layer underneath. After the glass is finished, the painter will paint the outside of the entire frame. At this time, it will take almost 10 days. Zhang Chen was thinking about it in his mind. Although the entire factory was not small in scale, it would still look a little too monotonous if placed on a sand table of 8 meters by 2 meters. This was no different than urban planning, which had so much content. Zhang Chen thought of the sand table in Haikan Planning Bureau again, and he asked Mr. Ni. Mr. Ni, let me ask, will the scale of your company continue to expand? Of course, we will build a factory to produce polyester yarn next. In this way, our company will realize the entire process from silk to cloth to printing and dyeing. It is right next to our current factory. When you come here, I didn't see it, but we have already bought that piece of vacant land, 120 acres. If that's the case, Mr. Ni, I have a suggestion, Zhang Chen said. Why can't we turn the sandbox model into an enterprise planning model and show the future of the entire enterprise in front of everyone? In this way, Mr. Ni's eyes lit up, he slapped the armrest of the sofa, and shouted, yes. Why didn't I think that when leaders and customers come to see it, they will know what the future of our company will look like? Even the introduction, no introduction is needed, it's clear at a glance. Haha, great, designer Zhang, if I say your designer's brain is great. Zhang Chen smiled humbly, thinking, I am not smart, it's just that I have a lot of experience and have seen this thing before. The next step was almost effortless. Mr. Ni came up with the price and conditions himself. Zhang Chen came here to make the sand table. All the required materials were purchased by them. Zhang Chen only needed to issue a purchase order. During the work period, food and accommodation are arranged by the factory. The entire sand table production cost is 38,000 yuan, with 10% paid in advance and the rest paid in one lump sum after completion. What do you think of this condition, designer Zhang? Asked Mr. Ni. Zhang Chen roughly calculated that it would take more than a month to complete the entire sand table. In more than a month, the net profit would be 38,000 yuan. It should be said that Mr. Ni was already very interesting. Although Chu Tianlin asked herself to try her best to raise the price. But Zhang Chen felt that he was really embarrassed and couldn't say this. Zhang Chen said yes, thank you Mr. Ni. Mr. Ni immediately called Director Li and asked him to draft a contract and asked the finance department to prepare the advance payment. Zhang Chen and Mr. Ni signed the contract with their company and returned to Hangzhou with the advance payment and contract. He made an appointment with Mr. Ni, who would first draw a drawing of the entire sand table and hand it over to the carpenter for production. He would also write a purchase order for the required materials, and their factory would arrange for someone to purchase them. After doing this, Zhang Chen himself can go to Sichuan. By the time he comes back from Sichuan, the entire framework and materials should be in place. Thank you Tang Wei for your monthly vote. Thank you for all the recommendation votes and reading. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 463. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao went to Chu Tianlin's place. Zhang Chen showed Chu Tianlin the contract signed with Mr. Ni and the others. Chu Tianlin asked, "How long will you have to do this job?" Zhang Chen said, "Probably more than a month." Chu Tianlin said, "Yes, it seems that Lao Ni is not outrageous." Zhang Chen said, "Yes, this is the condition offered by Mr. Ni, and I am embarrassed to say anything more." Chu Tianlin said, "Let's get started and get this customer done first. Then there should be other jobs there for such a big company." Zhang Chen said, "Yes, I will work hard." Chu Tianlin saw that Xiao Zhao was unhappy and understood in her heart. She said, "Xiao Zhao, what are you worried about? Qiqiao is only a little way away. Xiao Zhang has no time limit for commuting to and from get off work. He can come back at any time. What are you afraid of?" Xiao Zhao flattened her mouth and smiled reluctantly. She wanted to tell Sister Chu that we had never been apart for a day after we got together. I just wasn't used to it. But how could she have the nerve to say this? Zhang Chen understood what she meant, reached out and held her hand. Chu Tianlin looked at the young couple and couldn't help but smile. She said, "But Xiao Zhang, it's not good for you to come back often. It will make people think that you haven't devoted yourself to their project. They will think that you often come back when we return to Hangzhou. There are other projects we are working on, and they will be worried that you will delay them." Zhang Chen nodded and said, "I also thought of this, so let's do this." Chu Tianlin said to them, "When you come back from Sichuan, Xiao Zhang, when you go to Qiqiao, Xiao Zhao comes to sleep at my house. My husband and children are in Shenzhen. It's just me and Xiaoan at home. Xiao Zhao come, you can keep us company. My home is in Yangbatu, not far from where Xiao Zhao works. It is also in the city, so it is safe to ride back and forth. On a rainy day, if you don't ride a bike, it only takes 10 minutes by bus. The spring rain in Hangzhou is still very annoying." Chu Tianlin said this, and Zhang Chen's brows widened. This was what he had been worried about, especially when working the night shift. The road to Sanbeo was really unsafe. Zhang Chen also thought that if it didn't work, he would just let Xiao Zhao rush to the Red Flag Hotel before dark, but Xiao Zhao was a restless person. She would definitely help with the work as soon as she arrived, so she would have to work for more than 10 hours. If he could live with Chu Tianlin, what would he have to worry about? "Xiao Zhao, would you like to come over and accompany your sister?" Chu Tianlin asked. Xiao Zhao smiled and nodded quickly. "Okay." Chu Tianlin clapped her hands gently and said with a smile, "Then the three of us women will be lively together. When you come back, Xiao Zhang, maybe Xiao Zhao won't want to leave. How about, I won't let you go. Are you willing to let Xiao Zhao be with me?" Zhang Chen quickly said, "Thank you, Sister Tianlin. I feel relieved that Xiao Zhao is with you." Zhang Chen who has spent a day drawing the entire sand table shelf. The dimensions and materials were clearly marked on it. The entire base, measuring 2 meters by 8 meters, must be supported by uprights and rungs in the middle, and then paved on top. 9 cm board. The top of the 9 cm board is used to run wires and install light-emitting diodes. There should also be light slots on the sides of the sand table frame to install fluorescent tubes. Without these lights, the house model and the entire sand table would be completely dark. On the base of the 9 cm board, open 25 cm, and then lay a layer of 5 cm board and plexiglass. The place where the plexiglass is laid is the factory road, and the place where the 5 cm board is laid is the various facilities in the factory. Class building. Zhang Chen plans to make the model of the building above using foam sheets and plexiglass. The factory workshop uses foam sheets to cut out the shapes of houses, hollow out the inside where lights should be, and install light-emitting diodes. The square, rectangular, and round foam blocks are covered with stickers or striped wallpaper to form factory buildings. The top priority of the model is the office building. Because the entire exterior wall of Mr. Ni's actual office building is made of glass, Zhang Chen also had to use transparent plexiglass to make it. Because this model is transparent, it must be made very detailed. It is so detailed that from the outside you can see the hall, chandeliers, spiral staircases, and office doors, and even people walking around inside. After drawing the drawings of the sand table frame, Zhang Chen made a purchase list on 3 large sheets of paper, item by item, from making a heating wire cutting machine for cutting foam boards to foam boards of various thicknesses. Foam boards cannot be cut with a knife or saw. You have to make a heating wire cutting machine yourself. Zhang Chen can do it himself. He made the ones used in their troupe. Many of the props on their stage are made of foam. Made. Zhang Chen wrote down resistance wires, step-down transformers, switches, etc. on the paper. Even the various thicknesses and colors of plexiglass used to make the office building model were written down, including the manual wire saw used to split the plexiglass and the chloroform used to bond the plexiglass. After finishing writing the list, Zhang Chen read it again and felt that there should be nothing missing. There were still many things, such as latex, nails, wire sleeves, stainless steel pipes, etc., which must be in the factory warehouse, so he did not list them. Go up. Before going out the next day, Zhang Chen checked the relevant dimensions of the frame drawing again. After confirming that it was correct, he put the drawing and list into his bag and prepared to go to Qiqiao. The carpenter would definitely make it strictly according to the drawing. If one of the sizes is wrong, it will be a big trouble. Zhang Chen arrived at Director Li's office. The carpenter hired by the factory was already waiting for him. Zhang Chen gave him the drawings and asked him to see if there were any doubts. After confirming that there were no doubts, he would calculate the wood and boards needed for the carpentry. After coming out, hand it over to Director Li to arrange the purchase. Zhang Chen also handed the purchase list to Director Li. The next day, Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao embarked on a journey to Sichuan. Originally, Zhang Chen wanted to go by plane, but Xiao Zhao couldn't bear it. They ended up buying 2 hard sleepers from Hangzhou to Chongqing. Xiao Zhao's hometown is in De County, Sichuan. De County is not a county, but the De County area. Although Xiao Zhao's family's Linshui County belongs to the De County area, it is on the other side of De County, which is what Zhang Chen originally thought. Bazhong City in the Daxian area, where Luo Zhongli and He Dueling often sketched and appeared in large numbers in oil paintings, belongs to the north and south of Daxian County, adjacent to the water and closer to Chongqing City. They got off the train at Chongqing railway station at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon and stayed in Chongqing for one night. Early the next morning, they took the early bus from Chongqing to Linshui County, heading to Linshui. The distance from Chongqing to Linshui is more than 150 kilometers, which is closer than Hangzhou to Yongcheng. However, the road is more difficult than Hangcheng to Yongcheng. The car crawls in the endless mountains, constantly going uphill and downhill. The car was old and kept breathing heavily. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao were really worried that it would lie down in the mountains and stop moving at any time. They walked on the road for more than 4 hours. It was already past 12 noon when they arrived at Linshui County. Linshui County is very small and full of old houses. Xiao Zhao took Zhang Chen to eat longxiu noodles on the street. Zhang Chen, I saw a chopping board in the store, densely packed with more than a dozen kinds of savory dishes, including beef, sausage, duck mushrooms, miscellaneous sauce, peas, hoof flowers, shredded pork, etc., and each one looked very tempting. Xiao Zhao simply ordered 2 bowls of longxiu noodles and 2 more bowls. He took a little of each kind of spicy food that Jiang Chen wanted to eat and filled 2 big bowls. This way of eating made everyone around him laugh. After eating the noodles, they went to the bus station and got on the bus from the county seat to Xiao's hometown. This time the bus was even worse and the road was more difficult to walk halfway through. The bus actually stopped, and the driver and several people, a man, who thought he knew a little about cars, opened the front cover of the bus and the engine cover at the back. After searching for a long time, he could not find the cause. The driver took an iron hammer, knocked it east and west, and asked everyone to go down and help push the cart. The cart slid for more than 10 meters on the mountain road, and suddenly started to start. People in the cart cheered, and the driver couldn't help but push the cart. He dared to stop the car completely, controlled the car to move slowly, and shouted to the people who got out to push the car to get in quickly. The 7 or 8 people pushing the cart, including Jiang Chen, caught up with the moving car and climbed out of the open door. The driver called twice and asked if everyone was coming up. The people behind said they were coming up. The driver then closed the door and accelerated the car. It took them 2 hours to walk more than 20 kilometers to arrive. The place where the car parked happened to be at the entrance of the township government yard, where Xiao Zhao and Jiang Chen got off the car. Xiao Zhao and Jiang Chen said, "My uncle's family lives here. We will stay at my uncle's house at night and go back tomorrow. After getting the household registration book, we still have to come back here. The Civil Affairs Office, Police Station, and Family Planning Office are all in this courtyard." They walked into the yard. Inside the yard was a drying area, where beans were also being dried. At one end of the yard, there was a large yellow jujube tree. Under the tree was a row of cement pools, which looked very similar to the row of pools at the entrance of the canteen of Jiang Chen and his troop. There were several women standing in the pool washing clothes. A woman turned around and saw someone coming in carrying large and small bags, and asked others, "Whose baby is this?" All the women looked back, and one of them yelled, jumped up, and then ran towards Jiang Chen and Xiao Zhao while wiping her hands on her clothes. When Xiao Zhao saw the person coming, he laughed and shouted, "Auntie! Thank you R11Z for the reward. Thank you Li Rujin for your monthly ticket. Thank you for all your reading and recommendation votes." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 464. Aunt ran over and picked up Xiao Zhao. She put her hand on Xiao Zhao's back and patted her constantly. Xiao Zhao hugged her aunt and kept smiling. Aunt let go of Xiao Zhao and asked her, "Why are you back at this time?" Xiao Zhao pulled Jiang Chen aside and said to his aunt, "Come back and register to get married with him." Jiang Chen quickly shouted, "Hello, aunt." Auntie took a step back, looked at Jiang Chen, then at Xiao Zhao, then at Jiang Chen, nodded and said, "It's a good match. Auntie likes it?" "Of course, I picked it," Xiao Zhao said. Auntie laughed and said, "Okay, go home, hurry up and go home." She looked towards the pool. A woman immediately shouted to her, let's go, Chief Niu. I'll wash it for you and take it home later." The office building of the township government is a 3-story building built in the 1970s. The 4-story building behind it seems to have been built not many years ago. It is the dormitory building of the township government. On the way to the back, the 3 people walked from time to time. Whenever he meets someone on the ground, he will nod to his aunt, "Hello, Mr. Niu Xiang." Jiang Chen was surprised. He asked Xiao Zhao, "Why do they all call Aunt Niu township chief?" "My uncle is the deputy township chief and my aunt is the township chief." Xiao Zhao laughed, and her aunt also laughed and said, "Everyone in the township calls me Niu Xiang, even our secretary." I laughed so hard that time. When the county magistrate came and ate in the cafeteria, he also called me Niu Xiang Long. Xiao Zhao and Jiang Chen said that in fact, the real Chief Niu is my uncle, but everyone in the township knows that my uncle is afraid of his wife and listens to my aunt in everything, so people in the village call my aunt Chief Niu. What do you call uncle? Zhang Chen asked curiously. Lao Niu. No one calls him the township chief. Even the township chief will say to him if he has something to say, Lao Niu, why don't you go back and ask the township chief Niu about this question, Xiao Zhao said with a smile. Yes, yes, they all say so, the township head and secretary all say so, my aunt said proudly. But don't look at my aunt. She is just a cook in the township canteen. But if there is a fight between the two villages below, the township head and secretary can't stop it. Please invite my aunt to go. It will be fine as soon as my aunt goes, Xiao Zhao said. So powerful. What magic weapon does aunt have? Zhang Chen asked. What kind of magic weapon? When I went there, I told the directors and secretaries of the two villages that if any of you don't call your people back, I will go to your door and scold you. I will scold you for a few days and nights. The courtyard wall and the pigsty have collapsed, and it's hard for them to scold the secretary and the township chief. People are not afraid of them, but they are afraid of me. I am really good at scolding, and I am famous throughout the township. As their aunt said, Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao's stomachs almost hurt from laughing. Zhang Chen thought of his aunts shouting in front of him, and he was indeed very confident, not inferior to Tan Shahen. Such a person would be very lethal if he scolded you in front of your house for days and nights. My uncle's family lived on the third floor. After my aunt took them in, she pushed open the window of the living room towards the office building in front and shouted, "Old cow." Zhang Chen heard that the whole house in front started laughing. A window on the second floor opened, and a middle-aged man with a round face stood at the window and looked up, asking, "What are you doing?" "Xiao Zhao is here," Auntie said. The face shrank back and the window was closed. After a while, there was a sound of turning keys at the door of the room. The door opened. The person in the window in front stood at the door. He was short and fat, with his hands in his hands. On his waist, he looks like a deputy mayor. Xiao Zhao shouted, "Uncle." Zhang Chen also quickly called out, "Hello, uncle." The uncle looked at Xiao Zhao and said, "This year has passed, why have you come back? Why can't you come back? Don't talk too much," my aunt scolded. Okay, the uncle suddenly became tired. The deputy mayor's demeanor disappeared from him. He chuckled and walked over and sat down on the wooden sofa on the other side. Xiao Zhao told his uncle and aunt the purpose of their visit, especially the birth certificate. They were very happy to hear it. His aunt looked at Xiao Zhao and said, "So, if you move to Zhejiang, you will become a resident." Xiao Zhao nodded and said yes. The uncle rubbed his hands, looked at Zhang Chen, and said with a smile, "I didn't expect that Xiao Zhao is going to be a mother and has to apply for a birth certificate. My old sister will be extremely happy when she finds out." Xiao Zhao giggled and asked, "Is there no traffic to go home now?" "If there is no traffic, we have to leave early tomorrow, go back and get the household registration book, and then come back here to complete the procedures." "What are you going to do when you go back?" "Stay well. Once things are done, Aunt will find you a tractor and take you back to see it," Aunt shouted. "But when we apply for marriage certificates, birth certificates, etc., we need a household registration book," Xiao Zhao said. "What kind of household registration book do you need? Who doesn't know where your household registration is? The township police station can also check it. In this way, you have a baby, you can rest at home for me, Lao Niu, you go to work, I will buy groceries, and we will make arrangements in the canteen, I'll come back and cook for you." As her aunt said this, she stood up and pulled Uncle Xiao Zhao out. As soon as the two people left, there was a knock on the door. Xiao Zhao went to open the door. It was the woman washing clothes in front of the sink with her aunt. Xiao Zhao called her third aunt. Third aunt also knew Xiao Zhao and touched her face. It's beautiful again. The third aunt gave Xiao Zhao a basket of washed clothes and told Xiao Zhao to help Mr. Niu Xiang dry them. After her aunt went out for a while, she came back and brought back a lot of vegetables. Xiao Zhao stood up to help and asked, "Who are you giving to after buying so much?" "Pig, if a group of pigs come over tonight, I'm afraid there won't be enough food," Auntie said with a smile. "Auntie wants to treat us tonight." Xiao Zhao followed his aunt into the kitchen to help. Zhang Chen also followed, but was unable to intervene. His aunt smiled and said, "You go outside and watch TV to keep your spirits up. You can drink with them in the evening." Auntie took out the round tabletop and put it on the small square table. It seemed that many people would come to eat in the evening, so Auntie cooked a large table of dishes. At 5 o'clock, the township government got off work. After a while, there were sounds of footsteps and people talking on the stairs, and then there was the sound of the door lock twisting. Zhang Chen quickly stood up, and Xiao Zhao also came out of the kitchen. The door opened, and 6 or 7 people came in from the door. They all knew Xiao Zhao. They called this uncle and that uncle, and they all knew Xiao Zhao. They smiled and said, "Xiao Zhao is back." The uncle introduced these guests to Zhang Chen one by one. Zhang Chen kept saying hello and hello. Listening to his uncle's introduction, he already understood why his aunt wanted to treat tonight. Among the people who came, there were the township secretary and township chief, the director of the township civil affairs office, the director of the family planning office and the police station director, and there was another one who, like his uncle, was also the deputy township chief. After each of them came in, they walked around the kitchen, called Mayor Niu, exchanged a few words with her, and then returned to the living room and sat down at the table. Xiao Zhao set the table and poured wine for them. His uncle invited Zhang Chen to sit down too. As soon as Zhang Chen sat down, the secretary said to him, "You, my nephew and son-in-law, why don't you propose a toast to your uncle? When Chief Niu comes, he will abdicate." Zhang Chen quickly picked up the wine glass. His uncle said, "I want to toast the secretary first." Zhang Chen walked over and toasted the secretary. After toasting the secretary, he toasted the mayor. They all toasted, and finally the uncle. Everyone present called him, "This wine tastes interesting, but I didn't expect that this nephew would still drink a lot." Xiao Zhao happened to come out with the dishes. When he saw it, he shouted, "He is just a hawker. Don't bully him." The person in the seat shouted, "Xiao Zhao, do you also want hawker?" The secretary shouted, "Who here in Niu Township would dare to bully her nephew and son-in-law?" The township chief shouted, "Xiao Zhao, don't protect the calf." Zhang Chen quickly said to Xiao Zhao, "It's okay, it's okay." When the food was ready, my aunt also came out of the kitchen and put it on the table. She picked up the cup and clinked a cup with everyone first. After finishing the cup, the secretary said, "Mr. Niu, you said that you need help with something. Please first, if you don't talk about things, you won't be able to drink this wine." The aunt smiled and said, "It's not a big deal. It's just Xiao Zhao who needs to register his marriage, apply for a birth certificate, and change his household registration." "Hey, I thought it was something." The secretary and the mayor looked at each other and laughed. The secretary said, "Then this is none of our business. You can find a few of them." The director of civil affairs said, "Come on, let's do it." Xiao Zhao just arrived today and hasn't had time to go back to get the household registration book, Auntie said. "What does it matter? The household registration director is there." The civil affairs director pointed to the police station director and said that his matter was over. "Where will Xiao Zhao move to?" the police station chief asked. "We are in Zhejiang," Zhang Chen said quickly. "Is it done in Zhejiang? Have you brought your relocation permit?" Take it, take it." Xiao Zhao ran away quickly and took the relocation permit to the director. After looking at it, the director shouted, Oh, that's good, it's still a non-farm transfer. Xiao Zhao is now in the spotlight. He turned around and said to his aunt, "It's easy to handle, don't worry, just come tomorrow." His case was over. Finally it was the director of family planning's turn. He said, "I don't have any problem here. I can just go to the township health center tomorrow and get a pregnancy test." "You're a big-headed idiot. It's been a month since Xiao Zhao came to look for you," Auntie scolded. The director of family planning was a little embarrassed. He said, "It stands to reason that Xiao Zhao complies with the birth control policy. There is no problem in getting a birth certificate. However, if you get pregnant out of wedlock, you still have to be fined." His statement was the same as that of Sister Huang. "What's the fine?" My aunt pointed to the director of civil affairs, then pointed to the director of the police station, and said to the director of the family planning director, "Our Xiao Zhao, tomorrow he will register here, you will get the certificate here, and his household registration will be transferred there. Come on, don't say that she is not a superborn child. Even if she is a superborn child, she is no longer from our village. What kind of fine do you want? I'll punish you like a big-headed devil." The director of the family planning director looked at the secretary and the township chief. They both smiled and said nothing. The director said, "Okay, Immortal Ban Ban, you, the mayor Niu, have the final say. Xiao Zhao, you come tomorrow, don't ask me, don't tell me, I don't know what a month or 2 is, but when you reach your age, my uncle will get you a birth certificate." "That's right," Auntie smiled. All the things were settled, and all that was left was to drink. That night, Zhang Chen served a lot of wine, and Xiao Zhao did not try to dissuade him. His aunt said beside him, "Drink, drink, sleep when you're drunk, don't worry about anything. Thank you Weiza for your 99,999 monthly ticket. Thank you for all the recommendation votes and reading. The Pentium Era, South to North." Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 465. On the morning of the next day, my aunt took Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen to get the marriage certificate, birth certificate, and migration certificate. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao were worried about this and that along the way. When they got here, they didn't expect it to be so. It went well, one aunt took care of everything. Zhang Chen also had a thorough understanding of the rural ecology. He lamented that their work efficiency was still quite high even when it was high. Everything was done, and the two of them felt completely relaxed. Although Zhang Chen said that marriage was just a piece of paper, after actually having this piece of paper, there was a change in his heart. "I felt that there was a big difference whether there was paper or not. After reading this piece of paper, Zhang Chen felt that the dust had settled again. This was his wife, and the child in her belly was their son. From then on, they were a family. A family of 3 is like a branch growing out of both parents' homes. The branch will fall to the ground and take root. Just like the big banyan tree in Haikan Dongyang Hot Pot Restaurant, they will have their own prosperity and branches. The leaves grow luxuriantly and then branch out into new branches. Parents will grow old and children will grow up. No matter how time passes, their family will continue like this. Just like Yu Gong said, there are endless descendants, and he and Xiao Zhao are just a link in the middle." With this piece of paper, he was also officially given many other identities. He was someone else's husband and father, as well as someone else's son-in-law and brother-in-law. Although he hadn't met them yet, he was already, just like yesterday when he was walking on the road, even if he passed by his uncle and aunt, he wouldn't recognize each other. But today, at this moment, he is already their nephew and son-in-law, and they are a family. Zhang Chen felt that this change was a bit strange and interesting. He felt that the concept of home and family was in the person who had a cigarette in his mouth and the ashes fell on their marriage certificate. He picked it up and blew the ashes away, then popped it, pressed the steel-stamped handle in his hand, raised his head, and smiled at them with his big teeth blackened by smoke, at this moment the director of the Civil Affairs Office. Everything really changed. The concept of home and family is expanding. To what extent it will expand, Zhang Chen is a little dizzy, he doesn't know yet. If there wasn't someone next to him, Zhang Chen really wanted to hold Xiao Zhao in his arms and kiss her properly, as if they just met and kissed for the first time today. Everything was new. He kiss your wife properly. The aunt asked them to stay at home for one more night. A tractor would take them in early tomorrow morning. Xiao Zhao's home was still more than 10 miles away from the hometown. Xiao Zhao and his aunt said that they were going to the street to buy things for the family. The aunt said that they should buy more and buy more. You guys are the ones who kill first and then tell the story. Wherever there is a mother-in-law and an old man who has not seen the face of the father-in-law, you get married first and return the favor. Having a baby. Xiao Zhao said coquettishly, then I don't care. I originally said I would go home first, but my aunt told me not to go back. I want to blame you. Auntie smiled and said, okay, blame me. Blame me. Aunt smiled and shed tears. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao were shocked. Xiao Zhao quickly asked, Aunt, what's wrong with you? My aunt burst into tears and smiled. She said, Auntie is happy, but also a little sad. We, Xiao Zhao, are all married, and we are married to a place as far away as Zhejiang. It's not far at all, Auntie Xiao Zhao said. Xiao Zhao is in Hangzhou. You and your uncle can go to Hangzhou to play in the future. We will accompany you and take you to see the West Lake and the Six Harmonies Pagoda. Go to Lingyan Temple. Okay, Lao Niu and I will definitely go. My aunt looked at Zhang Chen and said, Xiao Zhao has gone so far away, so you have to be nice to her, otherwise my aunt will come looking for her no matter how far away she is. Zhang Chen quickly said, I will, aunt, don't worry, if I treat Xiao Zhao badly, I'm afraid you'll scold me. Their house has no yard walls or pigsties. Xiao Zhao shouted, and the three of them laughed. Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen went to the street and bought a lot of things, including tobacco, alcohol, candy, and pastries. The unit price of the items was not high, but the quantity was large. Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen said that these were taken back to give to relatives and friends. There were too many things for two people to hold in their hands. Xiao Zhao simply bought a pole and 2 baskets, carried them on his shoulders and continued walking. The people on the side looked at them and pointed, and Zhang Chen woke up. Not in Hainan, but in mainland China, where there were girls carrying burdens and boys walking beside them, he quickly asked Xiao Zhao to give him the burden. Xiao Zhao asked, can you? Of course, no matter how difficult the task is, you can handle it, so why can't I? Zhang Chen said disapprovingly. Xiao Zhao gave the burden on his shoulders to Zhang Chen, and Zhang Chen took it and carried it on his shoulders. Although the burden was not very heavy and it was within the range that he could bear, when he walked, the pole on his shoulders seemed to always having to slide down. Zhang Chen kept changing the position of the pole on his shoulders, but he couldn't find a suitable spot. It seemed awkward wherever he placed it. Although the burden was not heavy, it felt heavier and heavier as time went by, and there was a slight pain in my shoulders. Not only my shoulders, but also my waist began to become a little sore, and my steps began to become sluggish. Xiao Zhao kept turning around and asking him if it was okay. Zhang Chen said it was okay, but his shoulder felt more and more painful. He had no choice but to use his right arm to hold the pole up and let it slightly away from his shoulder, so that the pain in his shoulder could be relieved. Start to lighten up. But as soon as this happened, the load became unstable and swayed back and forth. Zhang Chen quickly used his left hand to grab the rope connecting the basket at the back to the pole. But the one at the back was caught, and the front started to swing again. Zhang Chen could only let go of his right hand holding the pole and went to grab the basket in front. He missed it, twisted his shoulder, and the basket swung in the opposite direction. He reached for it again, his shoulders twisted again, the basket swung in the opposite direction, and he reached for it again. In this way, the person was like a top, being carried by two baskets and spinning in circles on the street. The people on the side knew at a glance that Jiang Chen was a novice and had never shouldered any responsibilities before. Seeing his embarrassment, everyone laughed and Jiang Chen blushed. Xiao Zhao looked back, feeling angry and funny. He hurried over, grabbed the pole, took the burden over his shoulder without any explanation, and walked forward gently and skillfully. Jiang Chen was greatly embarrassed. Why did this burden fall on Xiao Zhao's shoulders? It seemed to be much lighter and turned into another burden. Jiang Chen took 2 steps to catch up with Xiao Zhao and asked, "Isn't it heavy?" "Not heavy." "It's really not heavy," Jiang Chen asked, "why does my shoulder seem to be swollen even if it's not heavy?" Xiao Zhao said, "This weight is nothing. I am not bragging. I can carry it like this even on many mountain roads. When we were young, we went up to the mountains to cut firewood. A load of firewood was much heavier than this. We still had to carry it home after more than 10 miles. Jiang Chen shook his head, dissatisfied in his heart and disbelieving on his face. Xiao Zhao looked at Jiang Chen and smiled. "What? You don't believe it? Let me tell you, we used to go to junior high school in the countryside from home. We would come every Monday morning and go back on Saturday afternoon. We didn't even have a tractor. We carried a load back and forth like this, with pickled mustard and rice at one end and the skull bag and one end are things I brought to the countryside to sell. When I go home on Saturday, I have to pull pigweed all the way back. I'm used to it already." Jiang Chen shook his head and felt a little incredible. Xiao Zhao said, "Let's compare the burdens and see who is the working people." They stayed at their uncle's house for another night. When they got up early the next morning and walked to the front, they saw a walking tractor parked in the drying field. The tractor driver saw them and greeted them from afar. "Uncle or aunt?" "The head of Niu Township, the head of Niu Township." The uncle and aunt took them to the tractor, loaded the load onto the tractor bed and put it away. The aunt looked at the bare metal in the truck bed and scolded the tractor driver, "You idiot, you don't know how to put 2 bundles of straw. Don't let your butts get shattered by the city girls." She was talking about Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen quickly said it was okay. "We used to go out to perform and often ride tractors." The aunt still asked the tractor driver to run to the canteen at the back, bring a big armful of straw, and spread it in the bed of the tractor. Then she let Jiang Chen and Xiao Zhao get on the truck, and the two fell down on the straw pile. Sitting on the sofa is comfortable. The tractor drove out of the township government compound and drove in the opposite direction of the street. After driving for a while, the cement road under its feet and the houses on both sides disappeared. The tractor drove along the bumpy gravel road towards the depths of the mountain. Go. Sichuan in March is surrounded by greenery. The spring breeze has woken up and turned the earth green. It is now more than 8 o'clock in the morning, but the valley is still filled with mist. The sound of tractors echoes in the valley. Even in this huge noise, Jiang Chen and Xiao Zhao could still hear the chirping of birds coming through the mist. The wind gathering from all directions brings the fresh scent of mountains, forests, and wild grass. Taking 2 strong breaths makes people feel relaxed and happy. Jiang Chen turned around and saw the tractor driver staring intently ahead. In this foggy weather, he didn't dare to be careless at all. Looking back, Xiao Zhao was getting into his arms, and the two couldn't help hugging each other and kissing. So what if the sky sees it? This is my wife and we are going home. Jiang Chen thought to himself. Thank you for your monthly pass in May. Thank you for all your reading and recommendation votes. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 466. The tractor taught road in the valley was full of potholes. 2 people were sitting in the tractor bed. Although there was straw padding underneath, they still felt a little seasick as the vehicle tossed and turned over time. The thick fog in the valley gradually dissipated, and the sun was a pale white disk hanging in the sky. When the fog gradually receded, its light became more and more dazzling and its heat became higher and higher. On both sides of the road, small patches of rapeseed fields appeared from time to time. In the green rapeseed fields, bunches of bright yellow sprouted, and anxious rapeseeds were already blooming. These blooming rapeseeds were generally taller than those around them. It's as if they came out just to be the first. In a week or two, this rapeseed field should be golden and set in the green valley. What a beautiful sight it will be. Zhang Chen was so interested in looking at it that he even forgot about his dizziness. He kept asking Xiao Zhao to look at it quickly. Xiao Zhao glanced at it and muttered, "What's so good about this? I'll look at it later." Zhang Chen didn't know what he would see next. Anyway, he thought it looked very good now. If he had a painting folder and paints, he would definitely get out of the car and paint one first. This kind of tender and translucent yellow and green would be perfect for painting. When on canvas, there is something charming, even sexy. In Monet's paintings, there are often green and yellow colors like this. As the tractor drove forward, the mountains on both sides receded, and the valley slowly turned into a dam. Zhang Chen couldn't help but stand up, put his hands on the front railing of the tractor body, and looked around excitedly. Xiao Zhao also he stood up, looked at Zhang Chen and asked, "Does it look good? It's so beautiful, so pretty." They saw that the entire baza was covered with pink peach blossoms. These peach blossom trees were planted in rapeseed fields. The peach blossoms bloomed on the top, and the rapeseed flowers also bloomed on the bottom because the inside of the baza was warmer than outside. The top was pink and the bottom was golden. Zhang Chen felt that such a beautiful scenery could not be described with words, only with a paintbrush. It's a pity that he didn't bring anything with him. He could only look at them greedily with his eyes, absorb them hard, imprint them all in his mind, return to Hangzhou, and draw them again. They were about to arrive home, and Xiao Zhao became excited. The few people he saw on the roadside all knew Xiao Zhao and waved to Xiao Zhao, who also waved to them. "My uncle sent someone in with a message yesterday, saying that Xiao Zhao was back, that Xiao Zhao was married, and that the new son-in-law was coming to the door on the first day today." Xiao Zhao's parents and his younger siblings were already waiting at the roadside. Xiao Zhao saw them from a distance, reached out and patted the tractor driver on the shoulder, and shouted to him, "Stop here for those in front." The tractor was too noisy. If he didn't shout, the tractor driver wouldn't be able to hear it. He heard it and nodded vigorously. Xiao Zhao jumped out of the car and hugged her mother, brother, and sister. The sister was 13 or 14 years old and looked very similar to Xiao Zhao. The brother was about 10 years old. The two of them, one on each side, immediately became attached to each other. Clamp Xiao Zhao on both sides. Zhang Chen also quickly got out of the car, bowed to them one by one, and called his father and mother. Xiao Zhao's parents looked at Zhang Chen and smiled gently. Xiao Zhao's father looked swarthy, much like the younger version of the father in Luo Zongli's father. When he saw Zhang Chen, he was a little at a loss and raised his hand. After 2 attempts, he finally seemed to muster up the courage to reach out and shake hands with Zhang Chen. When they shook hands, Zhang Chen was shocked. "My father's hands are covered with calluses, which are thicker than the calluses of workers on the construction site. They are the kind of calluses that have grown and grown over time, accumulated layer by layer, and are so rough that they can hurt. My father looked like a dull and taciturn person." He picked up the burden, hung Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao's luggage on the pole, and carried it together. Zhang Chen was embarrassed and wanted to carry it on his own, so his father just wanted to carry it. He said it's a long way to go. Jiang Chen tried it, and the heavy feeling from the luggage told Jiang Chen that he could not take the luggage from these hands and could only give up. Xiao Zhao and his family's home was more than 3 miles away from the main road. They walked along the path in the middle of the peach forest towards a mountain col. The father carried the load, but walked very briskly, gradually throwing them away. The road was too narrow and there was no way to walk side by side. The mother walked in front of Xiao Zhao, and Xiao Zhao followed her mother. The two of them almost shouted. The chat was in Sichuan dialect, and Jiang Chen could only understand it half understood. His younger brother and younger sister followed Xiao Zhao. They never left Xiao Zhao from the moment he got off the bus. They stretched out their hands to hold the back hem of Xiao Zhao's clothes. The two of them walked side by side on the path, squeezing each other, but no one was willing to take a step back and give up the opportunity to hold Xiao Zhao's clothes. When the road was a little wider, they immediately squeezed in, one on each side, and pinched Xiao Zhao, making it difficult for Xiao Zhao to walk. Xiao Zhao was not annoyed, but stretched out his hand to touch the back of their heads. Jiang Chen walked at the back and looked at this family. He knew that this was a gentle and friendly family. From their eyes, Jiang Chen could tell that Xiao Zhao was right. They liked him, and now he does too. He is happy to be a member of this family. Xiao Zhao's home is a lonely house on a hillside. The house is very old and shabby, and even the fence in the yard is tattered. It can be seen that although this place is beautiful and suitable for collecting scenery, the beautiful scenery is not good for the local area. For farmers, it cannot be eaten and cannot bring much economic benefits. Jiang Chen has been to Taishan and Wenqing in Wenzhou, Jingning, Yunhe, Songyang and other places in Lishui, including many mountainous areas in Yongcheng. He knows that for farmers in mountainous areas, the biggest headache is that there are too many people and too little land. There is only some flat land, and not much is allocated to each person. No matter how hard you work, that little bit of land can barely give you food and clothing. Do you still have to pay public food and various assessments? For them, green mountains and clear waters are really not valuable. Even every inch of gently sloping slopes must be reclaimed. If they cannot grow rice, they plant corn and sweet potatoes, which are also alternative foods. The courtyard door was open, and there were 2 pigs and a dozen chickens inside, walking leisurely. Although the courtyard door was open, they would not come out, and would only stay in the courtyard. Although Xiao Zhao's home is dilapidated, it can be seen that they have worked hard to clean and organize it after receiving instructions from their uncle, which moved Jiang Chen a little bit. They walked into the front of the hall. There was a side hall next to the front of the hall. There was a fire pit built on the ground. There were 4 long benches around the fire pit. The fire pit was actually not used for a long time, but because Xiao Zhao and the others were coming back, fearing that they would not be able to bear the humidity and cold in the mountain, charcoal was added to the fire pit, and their mother asked them to sit there. Xiao Zhao and Jiang Chen sat on a bench, and their father sat on another bench beside them. Their mother brought them tea. Jiang Chen took out the cigarette and handed it to his father. His father quickly took it with both hands. Jiang Chen lit the lighter for him. He did not smoke it himself, but put the cigarette and lighter on the bench. Jiang Chen and Xiao Zhao felt a little cold due to the wind blowing all the way on the road, so they stretched out their hands to make a fire. After their brother and sister entered the house, they disappeared, and they didn't know where they went. Xiao Zhao asked her father about everything from health to farm work in the fields, but no matter what she asked, her father only had one word, and that was good. His father looked at Xiao Zhao and then at Jiang Chen, feeling happy in his heart. When his father noticed that Jiang Chen was also looking at him, he smiled, raised his hand and said, "Drink water." After a while, the 2 people looked at each other, and the father still smiled and said to drink water. The younger brothers and sisters appeared again. Jiang Chen understood what they were doing, so he quickly got up, sat on the bench opposite, and gave his seat to them. The two of them, one on the left and one on the right, squeezed in next to Xiao Zhao, holding their hands, all showed Xiao Zhao the report card and certificate of award. It seemed that this was the first thing they had to do every time Xiao Zhao came back. Xiao Zhao lowered his head and looked carefully at each one. The three of them talked quietly. Xiao Zhao had finished reading and told them that it was good. Then the two of them let out a long sigh of relief. Xiao Zhao handed over the report card and certificate of award. Return it to them and tell them to take it and put it away. The two people ran away, put away their things, and ran back again. One on the left and one on the right, they sat down on Xiao Zhao's left and right. Mother also came over and sat on the empty bench. Xiao Zhao remembered, she stood up, walked to the front of the hall, took her bag, and took out their marriage registration certificate from the bag. Birth certificate and household registration transfer certificate were shown to my mother. As she looked at them, her eyes turned red, but the corners of her mouth were smiling. Xiao Zhao quickly stood up, sat next to his mother, and hugged her. His mother handed all these things to his father, and his father also watched. The younger brother and younger sister also wanted to sit with Xiao Zhao and his mother. Xiao Zhao looked at Zhang Chen, smiled and said to his younger brother and sister, she did not say brother-in-law, but elder brother. She said, my elder brother can draw better than your art teacher. If he can draw well, let him draw for you. The younger brother and younger sister looked at Zhang Chen timidly. Zhang Chen smiled and said, okay, let's paint. He got up and walked to the front of the hall, and came back with a sketchbook and pen from his bag. He first asked his brother, what do you want to draw? Fighting hero, said the younger brother. Based on his impression, Zhang Chen drew a propaganda poster that was posted in his home when he was a child. The picture shows the Zhenbao Island self-defense counterattack. A soldier, holding a submachine gun in his hand, jumped out of the trench in the snow and rushed towards the enemy. Under his cotton hat, a bloody bandage was exposed. After the painting was finished, Zhang Chen wrote a line next to the painting, life never ends, fighting never stops, Yu Qingyang, the hero of the Zhenbao Island self-defense counterattack. Zhang Chen turned around and asked his younger brother, who was standing behind him on the left and watching his painting, do you like it? The younger brother nodded desperately. Zhang Chen tore the painting out of the sketchbook and handed it to his younger brother, who received it excitedly. Zhang Chen looked at his sister who was standing right behind him and looking at him painting. When her sister saw Zhang Chen looking at her, she smiled shyly and stared at Zhang Chen with her big eyes without saying a word. Zhang Chen asked, what do you want to draw? My sister whispered, Heiken. Zhang Chen's heart trembled, and he thought to himself that the sister must miss her sister very much. She knew that her sister was in Heiken, but she never knew what Heiken looked like. Thank you Lao Chentang and Li Rujin for your monthly votes. Thank you for all the recommendation votes and reading. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 467. The younger brother ran away and put the painting away. After a while, he came back with an exercise book, opened the cover, and asked Zhang Chen to help him draw on the second cover. Zhang Chen asked, why do you want to draw here? The younger brother didn't say anything. Xiao Zhao glanced at it and said with a smile, he wants to take it to school so he can brag to his classmates at any time. The younger brother smiled shyly, and Zhang Chen said, what are you going to draw this time? I still have to draw fighting heroes. Do you want H. Jiguang or Di Kunrui? H. Jiguang. Zhang Chen said yes, so he drew in his homework book. He drew H. Jiguang in a volunteer uniform, flying to block the enemy's gun holes. In the lower right corner, he drew a bunker and a stick sticking out of the bunker, shooting bullets. The machine gun barrel, behind it is the battlefield filled with smoke. The younger brother was behind him and became excited just looking at it. After painting for his brother, his sister also came over with a notebook. Zhang Chen asked her what she wanted to draw. While her sister was thinking about it, Zhang Chen asked, "Sister is in Hangzhou now. Can I draw you the West Lake in Hangzhou?" The younger sister said and nodded. "Sit there, and I will draw you to the edge of the West Lake." Zhang Chen pointed to the stool next to him and said to his sister. My sister looked at Zhang Chen with her eyes wide open, meaning, "Is it okay?" Xiao Zhao smiled and said, "Let me draw it. I can draw you wherever you want." My sister happily sat down on the stool. Zhang Chen seemed to be back to painting portraits by the West Lake. He first drew his sister, then the three pools reflecting the moon in the background, and the Baoku Pagoda in the distant view. My sister was so happy that she took the notebook and showed it to her parents and Xiao Zhao. The younger brother was watching from the side, greedy and embarrassed to say anything. Zhang Chen understood and knew what his younger brother liked. He asked his younger brother, "I'll draw you a picture of you as Xiao Balu, fighting the Japanese devils, okay?" The younger brother jumped up immediately, and the father quickly said, "Let my brother drink water and rest." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "It's okay, I'm not tired from painting." He picked up the sketchbook, looked at his brother, and mentally tried to figure out his face and body features, while he started drawing in the sketchbook. Mother and Xiao Zhao were doing their homework, and by this time they were talking about this and that relative. At noon, their mother cooked noodles for them. Just after lunch, relatives came one after another. They all came to see Xiao Zhao, especially Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen couldn't tell who they were. He could only tell what Xiao Zhao was. Yell, he would bark accordingly, and Xiao Zhao would give them a gift for every relative who came. Only then did Zhang Chen realize that Xiao Zhao's seemingly careless shopping in the countryside had actually been carefully planned in her heart. She had already planned in advance what was suitable for each person who came, and she would not leave anyone behind. A lot of people came, and everyone was very happy when they saw Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen. Xiao Zhao was also very happy. Zhang Chen was watching from the side and felt that she was a bit like Santa Claus. He thought that coming back every year would be a good thing for Xiao Zhao. This is probably an important link. Part of the reason why she works so hard outside is to enjoy this happiness when she comes back. Among the guests, some came, sat and talked for a while, and then left. Most of them did not leave after talking and wanted to stay for dinner. The women went to help Xiao Zhao's mother wash and chop vegetables, and the men went to help Xiao Zhao's mother wash and chop vegetables. They went to other people's houses to move tables, stools, and tableware, and they set up 3 tables in the yard at the door. Among the people who came, there were also some relatively close relatives, such as Xiao Zhao's uncle and uncle, who brought bacon, chicken, duck, tofu, and vegetables, as well as jars of wine. Xiao Zhao's younger uncle brought some. There was a basket of fish and a basket of fresh meat. He caught the fish himself and bought the meat from the countryside early in the morning. He had just returned. Xiao Zhao complained, "Why didn't uncle come back on the tractor with us?" My uncle said, "When I arrived in the countryside, you had already left." With so many people coming, the house on the hillside became very lively inside and outside. At about 4 o'clock, Xiao Zhao's aunt arrived with her grandparents. Xiao Zhao quickly invited them to the fire pond and greeted Zhang Chen. "Sit down and chat with Grandpa and Grandma." Grandma held Xiao Zhao's hand and kept laughing. Grandpa laughed beside her. Zhang Chen handed the cigarette to Grandpa. Grandpa quickly shook his head. Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen said that Grandpa's lungs were not good. The most excited one is Xiao Zhao's younger brother. Whenever he sees children coming, he goes to show them the paintings drawn by Zhang Chen, especially the one where he is Xiao Balu, fighting the Japanese devils. This makes other children see. Yes, I am extremely envious. The younger sister is more reserved. When her friends come, she also wants to show her treasures, but instead of showing them the paintings, She takes them to the room to see them. The four little girls looked out and blushed. They stood there, looking at Jiang Chen. They were too embarrassed to get close and pushed each other. Jiang Chen asked his sister, "What's the matter?" The younger sister's face turned red. She looked at Xiao Zhao, who smiled and nodded. Then the younger sister said softly and asked Jiang Chen if he could draw a picture for the four of them standing together. Jiang Chen said yes. He walked over and brought the sketchbook and asked them, "Where should I draw for you? Can I draw you a picture of someone standing in front of Tiananmen Square in Beijing?" Before her sister could say anything, Xiao Zhao shouted, "This is good. I have never been to Tiananmen." The four little girls nodded desperately. Jiang Chen picked up the pen and thought to himself, "I have never been to Tiananmen Square, but I have seen a lot and drawn a lot from childhood to adulthood. There is no one who has not seen Tiananmen. Jiang Chen can't count the blackboards and propaganda in the school column. He has drawn Tiananmen so many times that he can easily draw it at his fingertips. He even knows how many gates Tiananmen has and how many columns there are on the tower." The news that Xiao Zhao's man could draw immediately caused a sensation inside and outside the house. Everyone gathered around to have a look, and they all agreed that the painting was even better than that of the painter who painted portraits on the streets in the countryside during the market. Jiang Chen quickly drew a portrait of four little girls, wearing red scarves, standing in front of the Tiananmen Gate Tower. The four little girls were so happy that they immediately went to the side to discuss who should keep the painting. God, as a result of the discussion, my sister was excluded because she had other paintings. This painting was kept among the three of them and circulated like this for 10 days. After finishing this painting, my brother's friends stopped working and gathered around. A fat boy said to Jiang Chen, "Brother, can you also draw one for us?" Jiang Chen said yes. "Would you like to draw a red kid to catch the spy?" A bunch of kids agreed. Jiang Chen teased them, "Then you are all red brats. Who are you going to arrest? Who is the spy?" The fat boy patted his chest and said carelessly, "I'll take the loss, I'll be a spy." Jiang Chen smiled and said, "Okay, then arrest the spies quickly." The others immediately pulled the fat boy's hands behind his back, and Jiang Chen shouted, "Okay, just don't move." He was drawing in a sketchbook, and the people watching on the side sighed that he was drawing so fast. The portrait master had to use an eraser to erase the drawings, and finally the drawing turned into a ghost. Everyone else said, "Yeah, yeah." Immediately, an old man quietly asked Xiao Zhao's mother. The mother asked Xiao Zhao if she could draw a portrait for your cousin. Xiao Zhao asked Jiang Chen, and Jiang Chen hesitated. Jiang Chen knew that the portrait they were talking about was a portrait. After the old man passed away, this portrait was hung in front of the hall for future generations to remember. This portrait was as big as an open magazine. The photo studio at that time had the ability to enlarge such a portrait. Big photos, but many old people don't like photos. They think photos have no soul, and they still like someone to draw themselves with a pen. The portrait master they mentioned earlier when going to the market is doing this. When a person is still alive, he prepares a portrait that he likes. For the old people, it is a big deal, like seeing their coffin ready. Same. What troubled Jiang Chen was not how difficult it was to draw the portrait. Jiang Chen had done a lot of drawings for others before, and it wasn't that difficult. What troubled him was that he didn't have carbon drawing pencils and lead drawing paper. Jiang Chen knew that these things were not available even in the countryside. If he wanted to buy them, he had to go to the county. Jiang Chen asked Xiao Zhao if he could go back and forth from the county on the same day. Xiao Zhao asked him why he went to the county, and Jiang Chen told her. The uncle said, "That's okay. The mining man in our village has a motorcycle. I'll take you there on his motorcycle tomorrow morning. It will take more than an hour to reach the county seat." Jiang Chen agreed, and he told Xiao Zhao, "Then you ask if there are any other fellow villagers who need painting. If so, I will buy some more tomorrow and paint them all for them. Many people around him became happy when they heard this, and they all said they wanted it. Xiao Zhao roughly counted it and found that there were more than 10 pictures. He asked Zhang Chen, "Can you draw so many?" Zhang Chen said, "Yes, I have been here for the past 2 days and I don't know how to go up or down the mountain, but I can still draw and draw." Everyone laughed and told Xiao Zhao's parents that Xiao Zhao was a good boy. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao said that if they had photos they liked, they would ask them to bring them over. If there were no photos, they would have to ask them to come and sit for a while. It should be, everyone said. Thank you to Run with a Smile May, and Burn Up for your monthly passes. Thank you for all the votes and reading. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 468. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao stayed at home for 3 nights. Zhang Chen drew more than 20 portraits. Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen joked that your reputation has already been painted in Linshui. Otherwise, if we don't go back to Hangzhou, it's time to draw here. Zhang Chen said with a smile, "Okay, my reputation is all about free portraits and paper. If you stay here, you will work in the fields to support me like the hard-working and brave Hainanese women." "Just do it, I won't do any farm work yet," Xiao Zhao shouted. On the morning before they left, my uncle called a walking tractor to take them to the countryside. Xiao Zhao's parents, as well as his younger brother and younger sister who had specially asked for leave, all sent them off together. As soon as they got on the tractor, the younger sister hugged Xiao Zhao and burst into tears. The younger brother sat next to Zhang Chen. At first, he was still laughing at his sister, but after a while, he himself lay on Zhang Chen and cried sadly. Zhang Chen quickly comforted them and said, "In 2 years, when you are older, you can go to Hangzhou during the summer vacation and stay until school starts and then come back, okay?" The younger brothers and sisters nodded desperately. The 2 children kept crying, making everyone on the tractor uncomfortable. Xiao Zhao and her mother also cried. The eyes of the uncle and father were red and filled with tears. Zhang Chen he quickly turned his head to the outside of the truck, pretending to be looking at the scenery outside, but in fact his eyes were also red. When they arrived in the countryside, Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen took their younger brothers and sisters to the sales department of the Supply and Marketing Cooperative and bought new clothes and new sneakers. They also bought each of them a table tennis racket and a tube of table tennis balls, which they could take to school to play. Uncle and aunt asked them to have lunch together in the countryside before leaving. Xiao Zhao couldn't say anything because he was afraid that he would not be able to make it to Chongqing today and would have to stay one more night in the county town. They stood at the gate of the township government compound waiting for the bus. The township chief ran out and shouted, Chief Niu, let's go quickly so that Xiao Zhao and the others don't have to wait. The truck from the administrative department of the county government is here to pull beans and they are leaving soon. I agreed to let Xiao Zhao take their car to the county." A group of people hurriedly ran into the township government yard and saw a tool truck parked in the drying field. The beans were already loaded in the back, and the driver was using a rope to tie the sacks tightly in the bucket. Several women and children stood by the car, and they inevitably had to hold them and cry for a while. Auntie wiped her tears and said, okay, why are you crying? Even if you cry until the sun goes down, you still have to go, let's go. Come back when you have time, and come back with the baby in your arms. Xiao Zhao kept nodding. Zhang Chen pulled Xiao Zhao into the car. The car started, and the group of people followed the car and followed it outside the yard. Xiao Zhao stretched his head out of the window and looked behind, waving constantly. His sister was dragged by her aunt. She was so anxious that she stamped her feet and cried loudly. If her aunt didn't hold her, she would have kept running with the car. Outside the car were the rolling mountains. Xiao Zhao was still crying. Zhang Chen quickly comforted her, it doesn't matter. If it doesn't work, we will come back during the spring festival this year. Xiao Zhao said anxiously, how can we come back this year? Only then did Zhang Chen realize that according to time, it would have been 2 or 3 months since Xiao Zhao gave birth to the child during the spring festival this year. It was indeed impossible for him to travel such a long distance. If that doesn't work, either let your parents take the younger brothers and sisters to Hangzhou or Yongcheng. When Zhang Chen said this, he didn't even know whether they would be in Hangzhou or Yongcheng at that time. Xiao Zhao shook his head and said, it's impossible. There are pigs and chickens at home, and the land needs to be taken care of. How can they leave? Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao returned to Hangzhou from Chongqing. They didn't even go back to Sanbao's home. Sister Gihua was on the night shift. They found an empty room on the second floor of the Hunky Hotel to stay in so that they could take the bus the next day. Take the bus to Wulanmen. Early the next morning, they rushed to Wulanmen bus station and took the earliest 6:10 bus to Yongcheng. Zhang Chen's parents received a call last night and were already waiting for them at the door of the county committee. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao got out of the car. Zhang Chen's father looked at the time and saw that it was already 10:50. There was still time before the police station got off work at 11 noon. 10 minutes later, Zhang Chen's father quickly gave them the bicycle and told them to walk quickly, and we followed behind. Zhang Chen asked Xiao Zhao to sit firmly behind him and pedal hard all the way, riding the bike very fast. When they rushed to the police station, they saw the household registration police officer from that day coming out of the police station office building and heading towards the bicycle shed, ready to ride. Car ride home. Zhang Chen rode up in front of her and stopped the car. She was startled. She was about to scold him when he saw it was Xiao Zhao and recognized him. He also blamed Xiao Zhao for being too beautiful and unforgettable. She shouted, "Hey, aren't you from Sichuan?" Xiao Zhao quickly said, "Yes, we just returned to Hangzhou from Sichuan yesterday and we are here today." "How's it going? Is the migration certificate ready?" "All right. Okay, come see me at 1:30 in the afternoon, office 102. I'm sorry, sister, I have to go to work tomorrow, and he has to go to Qiqiao. We have to rush back to Hangzhou this afternoon." Zhang Chen also said, "Yes, please help me." The other party pondered for a moment and asked, "Have you brought all your things?" Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao said almost in unison, "We're all here." "Show me." Xiao Zhao quickly took out her and Zhang Chen's marriage certificate, their ID cards, Zhang Chen's family's household registration book, Zhang Chen's father's ID card, a copy of the relocation permit and the certificate from the township police station. The transfer certificate was handed over to the other party together. The other party looked at everything, pulled out Zhang Chen's father's ID card, held it up in his hand and asked, "Where is the head of the household?" "They are on their way and will be here soon," Zhang Chen said. "Okay, then I'll do it for you first and then go home." Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao quickly said thank you. The household registration police led them to his office on the first floor. Zhang Chen walked in and asked, "Do I need to be here? If not, I will wait for my parents at the door." The household registration policeman said, "As long as your wife is here, you can go ahead." Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment, and then thought that the wife she was talking about was Xiao Zhao. Zhang Chen walked away with a smile. He really didn't adapt to this new identity at the moment. It seems that he will have to adapt in the future. Zhang Chen took his parents in. They had already completed the procedures inside. All he needed was for Zhang Chen's father to come over and sign and agree to enter the house, and all the procedures were complete. The household registration police returned the household registration book with Xiao Zhao's name added to them. Zhang Chen's mother and Xiao Zhao were both happy when they looked at the newly filled out page of the household registration book. From this moment on, Xiao Zhao was like this. A member of the family. The family and the household registration police thanked her again and again. Xiao Zhao also wanted to invite her to dinner, but the other party quickly declined and told Xiao Zhao that her husband and children were still at home waiting for her to go back to cook. Thank you. Everyone walked outside the building together. The household registration policeman stretched out his hand and said to Xiao Zhao, "Welcome to become a Yongcheng native. We will be fellow villagers from now on. There is another beauty in Yongcheng." Xiao Zhao quickly held her hand and said, "Thank you, sister, she is also very beautiful." Zhang Chen's parents came out to wait for them at 10 o'clock. There was no cooking at home, so they decided to go to Jaxi restaurant to eat. After such a big thing was accomplished, they had to celebrate. The four of them walked to the door of Jaxi restaurant. Zhang Chen let the three of them in and asked Xiao Zhao to order. "Don't wait for him." He rode his bicycle to the station to buy tickets. Zhang Chen's mother told him not to buy the last ticket too early. Zhang Chen was riding on the car, stretched out his left hand and waved behind him to show that he understood. The last bus from Yongcheng to Hangcheng is at 3:20 in the afternoon, so they have plenty of time to go home and rest for a while after eating. Zhang Chen's mother is afraid of tiring Xiao Zhao. By the time Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao returned to Hangzhou, it was already 7 o'clock in the evening. Although they had rushed in a hurry and were a little tired, they were both very excited and had done all the things they needed to do. Everyone feels a moment of relief and can completely relax mentally. After they left the Woolenman bus station, they sat down at a small shop next to them and ordered 2 more dishes to celebrate. At noon, it was a celebration for 4 people, and now it is a celebration for their young couple, no, a family of 3. The 2 people sat there, seeming to have a stolen excitement and pleasure. After eating, they took the bus to the Hunky Hotel for a ride. Ziyulian was on the middle shift today. When she saw them, Ziyulian shouted to Zhang Chen, "It's interesting in front of you. There's a confused person calling you. I called several people today. I asked him to call again at 8:30, saying that you might arrive by that time." Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen looked at each other. They didn't understand who it could be. Why couldn't they be clear about it? They even beat several people at once. Zhang Chen's first reaction was to wonder if it was Mr. Ni and the others, but he immediately denied it. Even if they wanted to find him, they would still call Chu Tianlin. They didn't know the number here, and Chu Tianlin also knew that they were going to Yongcheng today. "I won't let Mr. Ni and the others come here to find Zhang Chen. If something really happened, Chu Tianlin would detain Zhang Chen." "Where did you call, Sister Ziyulian?" Zhang Chen asked. "I don't know, I'm just an old man who can't figure things out." He was looking for an instructor from the beginning, but he didn't tell you your name until later. He really couldn't figure it out. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao both laughed, they both knew who it was. Ziyulian looked at them and felt confused. She didn't know what they were laughing at. She asked, "Do you want to wait here? If you want to stay here, I will leave first and give you the place." Damn it, he obviously saw them arriving and wanted to take advantage of them and slip away first, and he said it so nicely. Zhang Chen felt a little angry, but he still said, "Okay, thank you Sister Ziyulian. Leaving her here to make noise is really not as peaceful as myself and Xiao Zhao being here. Thank you Li Rujin for your monthly ticket. Thank you Tin Soldier, ranked 3rd from top to bottom, reading books every day, and 131 on the shore for your continued rewards. Thank you for all the votes and reading. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 469. Xiao Zhao took the key and went to the boiler room. There was not a single hot water bottle in the boiler room. They had all been sent to the room. Xiao Zhao understood that it was Sister Gihua who picked up Ziyulian on the evening shift today. Ziyulian did not dare to risk herself. What should be done during the first shift is left to the evening shift. For Ziyulian, the appearance of herself and Zhang Chen was not part of the plan, but an unexpected bargain, and she grabbed it. Xiao Zhao also knew that if he had come to pick up the evening shift today, Ziyulian would have done the same thing as before. He would not have given a hot water bottle, but would have left everything to her. She was just eating her own tofu. Just give it as a gift, and eat as much as you want. Xiao Zhao feels that it's okay to do more, and it's okay to suffer a little loss on such small things. But if you go too far, I will still argue with you. This is called if you respect me a foot, I will give you a foot in return. Don't think that I am easy to bully. Now I am also from Zhejiang, and can even be said to be from Hangcheng. Isn't Yongcheng a suburban county of Hangcheng? Yusijing are also a suburb of Hangcheng. They are not much different from Yongcheng. Everyone's telephone area code is the same. It's 0571. Don't look down on anyone. Even Sister Chu, an authentic and old-fashioned Hangzhou native, won't look down on people like you. Xiao Zhao locked the door of the boiler room and returned to the duty room. Zhang Chen asked her if the thermos bottles had been given away. Xiao Zhao nodded and they both laughed. They understood what was going on and had nothing to say. They sat there and looked at the clock on the table. It was 8:30. Not a minute more, not a minute less. The phone on the table rang. Zhang Chen picked it up. There was a second-rate voice on the phone. Sound. Hey, is the instructor here? What instructor? I'm your uncle, Zhang Chen scolded. Haha, the second-rate guy recognized Zhang Chen's voice and cursed, I'm your uncle. Your uncle? Okay, my uncle, I was raised by force, please quickly ask my sister-in-law to answer the phone, the second-rate guy shouted. Zhang Chen gave the phone to Xiao Zhao, who quickly said, hello, second master. Okay, sister-in-law, listen to my Uncle Tan. You have a baby. Is it true? Yes, it's true. Haha, great, sister-in-law, please ask the instructor to answer the phone. The second-rate guy shouted, and Xiao Zhao returned the phone to Zhang Chen. Neither of them knew what the second-rate guy was going to do after he took turns asking you to pick up the phone. What? Zhang Chen asked. That's great, instructor. You made one without making any noise. It's strange. I've done so many things, but there's no sound at all. Can this be the same? Zhang Chen cursed. What's the difference? They're not all women. Then if some ding-dong tells you that she has made a noise, what will you do? Marry her and raise her by force. How can I not want my own son? Erhuo shouted. Zhang Chen couldn't think straight for a moment. Whether to have a son and whether to marry or not should not be the same thing, but how could they become one thing when they came to Erhuo? Instructor, it's settled, no matter whether it's a boy or a girl, I will be the godfather. It's too late, my godfather has been snatched away by a pole. You were raised by force, you move so fast, the second-rate guy scolded, then god uncle is mine. Did this uncle do anything? Hey, no matter what, I'll be your uncle. That's wrong, Zhang Chen shouted. What's wrong? What is your name, Mr. Tan? Zhang Chen asked. Uncle. Then what is my name, Mr. Tan? Brother. Then you do the math. My name is Brother Tan, my son calls you uncle, and you call Uncle Tan. How do you calculate this? The idiot was also confused. After doing some calculations, he felt something was wrong. Uncle Tan was the instructor's eldest brother. According to this, the instructor's child was of the same generation as him and should be called his eldest brother. Okay, let's go to God, brother. If you have any difficulties in the future, Just tell God brother and he will find a solution. If someone dares to bully him in school, God brother will stand up for him. He is forced to do it. That father, mother-in-law, is useless, said the second-rate guy. Zhang Chen got curious and asked, whose god brother are you? You're a kid. Then what should you call me? The idiot was stunned for a moment and cursed, you are a generation younger than me, okay, you are my uncle too. Uncle Zhang, you are satisfied? You are losing in the card game, haha. What about me? Xiao Zhao shouted from the side. The idiot was discouraged and shouted, Auntie. Hey, Xiao Zhao agreed crisply. The second-rate guy muttered, I was forced to raise you. I knew I wouldn't have made this call. I wanted to find a godfather. Why did I become a younger brother again? Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao laughed. Huo also smiled and said, call me when you are about to give birth. Zhang Chen asked curiously, why are you being called? What's the use of coming here? I'll come, I'll come. The second-rate guy said, I'll come and cheer up. By the way, if any doctor or nurse treats my sister-in-law badly, oh, my aunt, I will settle the score with them. Do you think you are a gangster? Our province is very good, with beautiful mountains and clear waters, but your province is not good at it, Zhang Chen scolded. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao looked at each other and couldn't help but laugh. They laughed for a long time until Sister Gihua came in and asked them what they were laughing at. They were so happy. Xiao Zhao and Sister Gihua said, Sister, I become an ant today. Early the next morning, Zhang Chen was going to Kikiao. Xiao Zhao was still in bed because she was going to work in the middle shift. She had to get up later. She went to work to get off work in the middle shift today. After get off work, she went directly to Chu Tianlin's house and stayed there. Last night, Xiao Zhao followed what Chu Tianlin taught her and helped Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen was very satisfied, but Xiao Zhao herself suffered from back pain, but she liked it in her heart. Zhang Chen sat by the bed and drew a Zhang Chen watch for Xiao Zhao. The two of them felt reluctant to leave. Zhang Chen leaned down and kissed Xiao Zhao. Xiao Zhao gently said to him, there are many female workers in the printing and dyeing factory, so you are not allowed to think about it, do you understand? If you want, come back and I will help you. Zhang Chen said yes, are you so worried about your husband? Xiao Zhao looked at him, pursed his lips, shook his head, and said to him with a grimace, don't worry, there will definitely be many people who will like the man I like. Zhang Chen kissed her again and said to her, but I only have this one wife, the only one. I won't even look at other women. Real. Real. Then my wife wants a hug. Zhang Chen hugged her, and the two hugged and kissed. Zhang Chen said in Xiao Zhao's ear, I want it again. Oh, Xiao Zhao shouted, quickly let go of Zhang Chen, rolled to the other side of the bed, and shouted, no, no, it will tire the little baby. Zhang Chen stood up with a big smile and walked out. Zhang Chen arrived at Mr. Ni's company and walked into the lobby of the office building. He saw that the partitions in the lobby had been set up. Zhang Chen walked over. The door was ajar. There was a sign on the door that read, this is a very important workplace. No one is allowed to enter unless invited. Keep out, do not disturb sign. Zhang Chen knocked on the door, but there was no reply. Zhang Chen pushed the door and went in. There was no one inside. Zhang Chen saw that the base and bracket of the sand table had been prepared, and even the paint was oiled. Zhang Chen touched it with the back of his finger. The paint is not completely dry yet. It doesn't matter, you don't need to work on the sandbox base yet, just let it work here. Zhang Chen walked to the row of shelves on the side and took a look. The things he wanted to purchase were all on the shelves, layer by layer, neatly arranged. Beside the shelf, there was a workbench with a lamp on it. There are desk lamps, an intercom phone, paper, pens, rulers, rubber utility knives and the like, all neatly arranged on the desk. They are for Zhang Chen to use when he is working or designing something at short notice. In front of the workbench, there is a swivel chair and a high wooden stool. Zhang Chen can choose what he needs depending on the working situation. Beside the workbench, there is a single sofa, which is for when he is tired from work. For resting, there is a row of hooks next to the sofa, with 2 new towels hanging on them, and a blue coat, which are work clothes prepared for Zhang Chen. All of this was done in an orderly manner, which made Zhang Chen impressed with the management level of Mr. Ni and his company. From these small things, the whole story could be seen. From today on, this is his studio. Zhang Chen walked in and walked around, and fell in love with his studio. He walked out the door, closed the door gently, but still kept it ajar, and went upstairs to Director Li's office. When Director Li saw him arriving, he quickly got up, walked to the corridor, called out, and a little girl ran over from next door. Director Li and Zhang Chen said, "This is Xiaokan, if you need anything in life and work here, just tell Xiaokan." He turned around and told Xiaokan, "Go and help designer Zhang apply for a label, then take him to the logistics department, arrange his room, and prepare his meal card." Xiaokan said yes. "Designer Zhang, are you staying here today, or are you going back to Hangzhou?" Director Li asked Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen said, "I can't leave, I want to start working today." "Well, if there's anything we haven't considered, just tell Xiaokan that you're welcome," Director Li said. "By the way, you've been to the studio below, right? The door key is in the drawer of the workbench." Zhang Chen said, "Okay, I understand, thank you, Director Li." After Zhang Chen finished speaking, he followed Xiaokan out. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 470. Xiao Zanbo called Lu Ligan almost every day and told him about the company registration situation. After the call, Xiao Zanbo himself found it funny and cursed, "Gangzi, are you my brother or the director? Why do I have to ask you every day, reporting?" Lu Ligan smiled and said, "You don't have to report to the director, but you must report to me every day. Your director will not care whether someone is registered or not. I am different. This is related to my life and death. You can't live without it? Save." "Okay, Director Lu, I just report on time every day." Xiao Zanbo said that from then on, he really changed his name and called Lu Ligan not Gangzi or Mr. Lu but Luju. Even his colleagues in Xiao Zanbo's office also called Lu Ligan Luju. Lu Ligan would often go around, bring them some cigarettes, and sometimes treat them to dinner. He had almost become a non-staff member of their office. Once he came out of it, a guy immediately followed him. He heard them calling him Director Lu in the office, and he really thought he was the director and followed him to the stairs. The materials he submitted had a signature of a shareholder, which was forged by him. Xiao Zanbo saw it and returned the information to him. He came out and said to Lu Ligan, "Please help the director. Our shareholder has returned to the mainland, and there is no way to get here. If we mail the information, it will take months to come and go. We really can't afford to wait." "Where are you from?" Lu Ligan asked. "Xi'an." "Where is this shareholder?" "Harbin." "Isn't there a direct flight from Harbin to Haikan? Just ask your shareholder to come here. It's so simple in 2 days." Lu Ligan said that the other party was hesitant. In fact, what makes him miserable is that he bought this shareholder's ID card for 30 yuan apiece under the Nandakiao bridge just to make up the money. He signed it all by himself. It was so good that he signed it. He didn't know how to change his handwriting at that time, but the guy's last name was still the same as his. Xiao Zanbo figured it out and insisted that the shareholder come to the Industrial and Commercial Bureau in person. This asked him where to find someone. When Lu Ligan saw the other party like this, he understood in his heart that there must be some hidden secret in this. It was not as simple as what he said. Originally, Lou Ligon thought that he had experienced the same troubles, and sympathized with him and wanted to be beautiful. I told him how to express it, but now I think about it and forget it. The other party looked left and right and found no one around, so he took out 2,000 yuan from his bag and tried to stuff it into Lou Ligon's pocket, which shocked Lou Ligon. Lou Ligon quickly explained to him that he was not the director. They called him Bureau Lou as a joke. He was not from the Industrial and Commercial Bureau at all. If you ask me to do this, haha, that was asking a ghost to see a doctor. The other party looked at him, doubtful, wondering if he was lying to him. Lou Lepole patted him on the shoulder and hurriedly walked downstairs. The number of real estate companies in Haikan is growing at the rate of 30 or 40 every day. In the drawer of Lou Ligon's office, there is a book dedicated to recording this number. Every time Xiao Zanbo calls him, he will add up the number. Up to now, there are nearly 12,500 real estate companies in Haikan. This number stimulates Lou Ligon every day. He wonders what so many people and companies are doing. Are they all here to build houses and sell them? Who to sell to? The population of Haikan is only over 1 million, and the total population of Hainan Island is only 6 million. Most of these 6 million people are like Yilan Ma. They all have their own houses. You don't need to buy a house. Even if you need it, you can't afford it. Unknowingly, the house price in Haikan has risen from 800 or 900 last year to 1,223 now. The price of land is even more astonishing. When Lou Ligon and the others changed hands, the land next to them was already worth 520,000 acres. Based on this calculation, Lou Ligon and his Jinghai International Financial Center are still a big hole, but the value of this big hole has increased by more than 50 million. Meng Ping would come to Lou Ligon almost every day. First, he came to Zhengwei to see if there was any new news. Second, he came to Lou Ligon to complain. He complained that his land was sold too cheaply. Why did every piece of land come to him? As for the land, as soon as I take action, within a week, the land will rise a lot. Complaints are complaints, but there is a kind of excitement and satisfaction in this complaint, and there is not much disappointment. On the contrary, he hopes that this situation will not change and continue. What he is most worried about is changing, so he has to keep an eye on Zhengwei. Anyway, when these lands are transferred out, he will soon have new lands, more and bigger lands. Those people above also hope that this way, they will continue to make money, instead of only hearing the jingle of money bags for a long time. Money is really safe in a bag, and everything outside the bag is a legend. As the money jingled, they became more and more kind to Meng Ping, and felt more and more that this guy was good and interesting. Isn't it interesting? Now that they see Meng Ping's face, they feel that he looks the same as Comrade Zhao Gongming, the god of wealth. So Meng Ping feels that as long as the situation continues, he will become more and more comfortable. Li Yong took 2 pieces of land from Meng Ping and sold them to fellow Gizhu fellows, earning more than 1 million. Li Yong tasted the sweetness. When Meng Ping came, he would definitely come too. Sometimes Meng Ping arrived first. Li Yong's office called him, and the two of them came up together. Damn it, more than 1 million. Just over half a month, it's so profitable. We have to sell things, and Hangchi is tired like a dog. He can't make so much even if he sells for half a year. Li Yong shouted. Li Yong never shied away from making money from the fields in front of Meng Ping, and Meng Ping was happy to hear it. Of course he was happy that his brother had made money with him. Meng Ping understands that this place is actually the same as clothes. From the factory to the final customer, there must be many middlemen and many links. It is impossible for customers to buy directly from the factory, even those who advertise themselves as direct sales from manufacturers. In fact, they are also middlemen. The same goes for this land. How can the government turn a piece of land of little value into a valuable commercial land? There are so many wastelands around Hiken. If it is not turned into commercial land, no one will touch it, and no one can move it. I got this land from the government at X factory price. I was a wholesaler, and then sold it to retailers like Li Yong. This retailer also bought it one after another. Li Yong encountered such a thing. The land he sold himself. A few days later, when another fellow villager came to sell it to them, the price increased by another 300,000. Lu Ligan looked at these two excited people and felt itchy in his heart. He really wanted to fight like them, but he had no choice but to report several times, but Beijing did not approve it. There was a piece of land, also in Kuomao, owned by Mr. Han. After the introduction, Lu Ligan felt that there was room for profit, and even as his company's second project, it was very cost-effective. Zheng Wei even made a special trip to Beijing for this purpose. The two banks finally agreed to their plan, but when Zheng Wei returned to Hiken, the land was gone. Mr. Han told them that the speed of land transfer in Hiken, now faster than Hong Kong, who will put the land there, waiting for you to ask for instructions and report level by level. Lu Ligan felt that Zheng Wei was right. Now, he really looked like Chiang Kai-shek's army. Those who commanded the battle at the front had no command authority, and those who commanded from behind had no idea of the rapid changes in the battlefield ahead. He felt more like a trapped animal, trapped and dead in this big pit of Jinghai International Financial Center, your grandma's. So, do you regret it? Zheng Wei looked at Lu Ligan and smiled. My proposal is still valid now. Lu Ligan sighed and cursed, forget it, forget about him, let's do business first. After saying that, Lu Ligan picked up Zheng Wei. Zheng Wei smiled and said, is this your business? Of course, the two of us are together, and that's our top priority. Disgusting, Zheng Wei cursed, but his voice and body softened. They are now together almost every day. There is no reason or even restraint for this man and woman to be together. If they separate from the bed every day, they will definitely end up in bed. After dawn, there are all kinds of reasons to convince themselves. Once it gets dark, these principles are annihilated by the night just like the light of day. Zheng Wei said time and time again that it was over, and if this continued, we would be inseparable, but it seemed impossible to separate them now. A person who behaved neatly became worried about gains and losses. She felt as if she had suddenly become 10 years younger, like a girl. She would often sigh and shed tears for no reason. Chong needed to be coaxed, and Lu Lizan was needed to make her laugh out of tears. She felt that she could no longer extricate herself. Her past and her husband have become distant and vague things. Many times, she herself wonders whether these things really exist. Until the phone on the bedside rang. He picked up the phone and heard the polite but cold voice on the phone. Zheng Wei immediately felt that he had fallen out of the clouds and fog, and it turned out that he was surrounded by thorns. When Zheng Wei answered the phone, Lu Ligan would quietly walk to the bathroom, close the door, sit on the toilet and smoke, turn his head, look at the mirror in front of the wash basin, and squirt one by one at himself in the mirror. Smoke rings.